What's up, everyone? We are live at 5 here at Broadway.com. It is Tuesday, May 14th. I'm Paul Wontorek.
And I'm Beth Stevens.
And we're joined by Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
And a super talented guy who I feel like everyone on Broadway is talking about right now.
That's right. Robert Horn, who wrote the book to Tootsie, is here. Tony
11
nominee.
Tony nominations for Tootsie.
Including one for this gentleman.
Yeah, and he just won the Outer Critics Award. The New York Drama Critics Circle named it. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about. We'll get to him, but first, today's top 5.
Another day, another awards.
Hey, Paul, did you know that other cities have theater awards?
Other desert cities.
Other desert cities. This is not a desert city. This is Washington, D.C. They have the Helen Hayes Awards. I think it's kind of rude, but they say it's like the Tonys of D.C.
What's Helen Hayes' connection to
Don't ask me questions about Helen Hayes. I don't have, that's not on the sheet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
She has her own theater.
I know, she's Nyack to me, anyway.
She has more than one theater, that's right. Follow along, children, it'll be fine. These are the Helen Hayes Awards. This honors outstanding theater in Washington, D.C. But there are some familiar names.
Right.
So, Ephraim Sykes, who was named Too Proud and is a Tony nominee, won for Outstanding Performer, I love this part, Visiting Production.
Yeah.
For Ain't Too Proud.
Yeah.
Kiss Me Kate's Corbin Bleu for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Musical not for Kiss Me Kate, but for Anything Goes, in which he played Billy Crocker.
He did that right before he came here.
He did. Tina Landau for the musical Dave.
Ooh, what's happening with Dave?
I don't know what's happening with Dave.
Call
Caitlin?
Tina. Somebody call Tina.
Tina. Get Tina on the horn. Eugene Lee, who appeared in American Son.
He was here for Live at 5. He's such a nice guy.
He won the Robert Prosky, remember Robert Prosky? Robert Prosky Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Play for Two Trains Running at Arena Stage.
Cool.
So anyway, check out all the winners on Broadway.com. Good stuff.
I'm going to look.
Go look.
Yeah.
Not right now.
And this show is keeping it in the family.
Yes, absolutely. Olivia Valli will be starring in Jersey Boys. So that's interesting.
Interesting, that Valli. Where have I
Interesting
heard that
name.
before?
So, yes, she is the granddaughter of Frankie Valli, who, of course, is a character in Jersey Boys.
And in real life.
That's the whole point. It's about Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. She's joining the cast in the musical about her grandfather's life. This is so interesting.
Valli with an I. Who does she play?
What a cool idea.
Mary Delgado.
She's playing Mary Delgado, which is the role based on her grandmother. I actually didn't even know that fact. Thank you, Beth. I've had a busy day, but that's amazing. Starting next week, starting May 20th. Currently, Natalie Gallo is playing the role. It's at New World Stages off Broadway. She's leaving on the 19th. And we have an authentic Valli over there starting the 20th. Congratulations,
Valli
Olivia.
with an I. Keep it in mind.
Valli. Everybody knows how to spell Frankie
It's
Valli.
a line from the show. Just go see it. It's
Enough.
good. It's a good show.
Jersey handshake.
And this contemporary remix is getting an upgrade.
Okay. Who knew that Uncle Vanya, the Chekhov play, needed a contemporary remix? Apparently, lots of people, because it's getting a summer run at Theater Row, and it's called Life Sucks.
Clever.
It will transfer to the Acorn Theater, and it recently concluded its New York premiere at the Wild Project. It's directed by Jeff Wise, and it will begin previews on June 4th and open on June 16th for a 14-week limited engagement through September 1st. So it's the summer of sucking on Theater Row.
Catchy title, Beth.
Yes. But it's a remix of Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, and
What's a remix?
Stars.
We're calling them remixes now?
It's when you take a song and you do it differently, but the same.
Okay.
And it stars Tony nominee Austin Pendleton,
Okay.
among others.
Cool.
Check that out.
And casting has been announced for this New York premiere.
Second Stage is doing a play called Make Believe. It's a new play by Bess Wall. It's having its New York premiere, and they just announced the cast. Michael Greif is directing it, who's obviously a very talented guy. It's about the 4 Conley kids whose parents inexplicably disappear. 32 years later, their search for answers continues. Let's see, who's in the cast? Brad Heberly, Ryan Faust, Kim Flesher, Susanna Flood, Harrison Fox, Maren Heary, and Samantha Mathis. Congratulations, all.
And some fierce ladies are going to do this fierce, awesome night.
So, you know how the Public Theater always has a big summer gala at the Delacorte Theater in Central Park?
Yes.
This year, it's called Women of the Public, which means the ladies are taking over. It's on June 3rd. I'm going to read a list of names because they're so awesome. Daphne Rubin Baker, Jen Colella, Annalee Ashford, Jane Howdyshell, Stephanie Shu. I always say it wrong. Sorry, Stephanie. Krista Rodriguez, Shayna Taub, Alicia Umphris, and many more.
That's an exciting list.
Star-studded. Well, also co-chairs are Susan Laurie Parks. I mean, just this is the tippy top of the women in theater. Anyway, that's what's happening. It's an event. It's a performance. It's directed by Lee Silverman, and it's at the Delacorte. I hope it doesn't rain. And only female raccoons are invited.
What else is on the site? New episode of What's Gonna Happen, which is Sarah Styles.
It's all about theater families, and it's
I
very
know. I watched
funny.
it. I watched it. I had time.
Wow.
And there's a building Broadway with Oklahoma director Daniel Fish and set designer Laura Jelinek.
Interesting.
Did you find it interesting?
I did. A lot of plywood.
There's a lot of plywood over at the Circle in the Square Theater. And photos of the MTC Gala, which was last night. And also, Beth, I have a little announcement.
Okay.
So, there's this show on Broadway called The Prom.
Yes.
You may know it. It's at the Long Acre. We've had many of the stars of The Prom sitting here.
We have.
There's a pivotal role in The Prom called Olivia Keating. Do you remember Olivia Keating?
Yes, she's with Broadway Mania.
She is. She's a reporter that opens the show, normally played by Courtney Ballin, who's a fantastic actress, and also Dee Dee Allen, understudy for Beth Level. Fun fact. Tonight, I'm playing Olivia Keating. Tonight, in The Prom.
Look at Caitlin's face.
Well, I'm playing myself in the Olivia Keating track. It's terrifying. As you know, I was never an actor. It's the opening moments of the entire show.
Do you know your lines?
I know my lines,
Good.
but I don't know how it's going to be when I stand in front of people with lights, because everyone compares it to this. It's not like this.
And
it's
you're
just
not
Robert
going to
Horn
say
sitting over there. It's not a crowd
Olivia.
of people.
You're not going to say Olivia Keating from Broadway Mania. You're going to say
Paul Montour from Broadway.com.
which you've said many times before.
And the nice thing is, I not only get to introduce Dee Dee Allen, Beth Level.
Yes.
I get to throw her first punch. Like I get to set up her joke for her. The very first joke of the show for Beth Level. So anyone who's at the Long Acre tonight, you'll see this guy. Terrifying.
I'll be there.
She'll be there.
I will.
Anyway.
Olivia Keating is getting a standing ovation tonight.
Beth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For always being here. Caitlin, tell everyone about today's guest.
Gladly, yes. We have book writer Robert Horn here to celebrate his very first Tony nomination that he got for Tootsie. Like we said, earned 11 Tony nominations, including Best Musical. He also wrote the book for 13, and he helped write Dame Edna, Back with Vengeance. Make sure you follow him on social media at rhorn1, the number 1, not ONE. Please leave all of your questions below, and please welcome Robert and Paul.
Hello. Thank you, Caitlin. Hello,
and
Robert.
exciting news, I'm going on for Beth Level tonight.
Are you?
So,
oh my God! So we're doing it together.
We're doing
That's
it.
amazing.
It starts here.
I actually didn't know that.
Neither
were going to surprise me.
Neither does she.
How are you?
Good. In fact, I saw her today at this event. And
it's a nonstop event.
And there was a
line.
line.
New dramatist luncheon today.
Yes.
And
there was a line like all the way around the hotel to get their coats. And she said, I have rehearsal in 30 minutes. I said, give me that. And I took her ticket and I handed it. I said, Beth Level has to go to a rehearsal. And got her a coat for her. And she kissed me.
But this is how you are. You're a real fan of Broadway and
fanatic.
And it's amazing because now you are like right in the middle of the stew. Like you're in there. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to meet you. You're winning awards. You're nominated for a Tony. How is this all feeling to you? Because this has all happened very sort of quickly and not quickly, but you know, in the actual immediate of Tootsie, the last opening of the season, sort of came in, or one of the last openings, and came in, and everyone just fell in love.
Yeah. First of all, I don't know this Stu, but I hear he's nice. It's been a whirlwind. This is actually the 5th musical I've done, but nobody's ever heard of me at the same time.
Right.
And I've always been a theater guy. I grew up here in New York, wanting to be a playwright, wanting to be in theater, couldn't get a job to save my life, and then finally, went out to LA and had this sort of other career, and then finally was able to make my way back. And this is all I've ever wanted to do. This is really my passion, and to do it with this collaboration with David Yazbek and Scott Ellis and Dennis Jones and Santino Fontana and this incredible cast. It has been, I'm like trying to slow time to it all being over and
Well,
then the
yeah.
next season coming in.
Well, I was thinking that because every day you're just sort of getting so much sensory overload, I'm sure.
It is a whirlwind. It's very different. It's such a community here, and it's so tight knit, and everybody knows everybody. It's not like that in the LA world. It's much more segregated. It's much more sort of spread out, and I don't really know anybody. But here, you can't leave your apartment. You have to give yourself an extra 20 minutes because of all the people you meet on the street on the way to wherever you're going.
Right.
It's just, and to be embraced by that has really been a thrill.
Amazing. Have you been hanging out at the Marquee Theater a lot and listening to the audiences, soaking your jokes? And I mean, big laughs at Tootsie.
It's crazy to be in that theater and have 15 to 1,600 people sitting together in a communal event, all laughing, like forgetting what's going on outside there and just taking the journey. It's thrilling. At this point, I train myself to listen to the laughs, not the lines, because I'm already like, okay, what am I going to change if it goes out on tour? What am I going to? But yeah, it's an incredible. I try. It's hard for me sometimes to go to the theater and watch because if something doesn't get a laugh, or I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Last night it was a rock concert.
Right.
So, but I'll go and see bits and pieces. I don't sit through the whole show anymore. It's just really hard to do that. But I'll go and I'll see bits and pieces, especially. So this is the greatest part of all this is that you grow up loving theater and idolizing these people, and then suddenly you get to meet them.
Well, I
and
know.
they're
I've
there.
been looking at your Instagram. I mean, everyone's coming to see Tootsie.
It's insane. And so I'm like, oh, I'm getting a picture with them. So I'll show up at the end of the show because, oh, no, I'm getting a picture with them because this may never happen
you're just
again.
going for the
So I'm
photos.
just going for the photo. I'm going for the selfies. That's it.
Yeah, even I went last week and backstage, Tony Shalhoub was there, and there were all kinds
Brooke
of people
Adams,
there.
his wife Brooke Adams, yeah.
And Graham Phillips.
Graham Phillips.
It took me like 5 minutes to really process that was actually him. Graham Phillips, of course.
He's your height now.
I mean, he's an adult. He was a star of 13, and obviously he's doing very well. He has a great film and TV career.
Yeah.
You keep in touch with him
I
over
keep
the
in touch
years?
with all the kids from 13.
All of them.
That was such a unique experience to be on the road, out of town, and then on Broadway with 14-year-old kids. And
it started in LA, didn't it?
Well, I wasn't part of that. We went to
you
at
came in.
Goodspeed. We started in Goodspeed.
Oh,
and
right,
then,
okay.
And then after LA, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm close to most of the kids.
Anyone else from that cast doing anything, or anyone else doing well from the cast of 13? Anyone?
There was one girl I heard cut a record. But it's interesting.
Ariana Grande.
And Liz
Everybody.
Gillis, who's the star of Dynasty, and Graham and Eamon Foley, who's got this incredible theater. They're all these kids.
Did you see the production of Merrily We Roll Along? He choreographed.
I did not.
Michael Arden directed.
The one in LA.
Yeah,
I didn't.
fantastic.
I was actually here, but
super talented.
But we all keep in touch. We're still all really, really close. And there's some 13 news that is on the horizon, which I'll tell you about when it's official.
It's gonna be a 13 reboot.
It's going to be something. Yeah.
Maybe
There's
a
something.
movie.
13, maybe.
Ariana Grande is gonna be the mom. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
She's on tour right now. She's
very busy.
She's very busy.
She's a busy, but a big Broadway
you know
fan.
What? She can sing. Yeah, theater is her roots are in theater. She loves theater and celebrates it so much and loves to sing theater songs and her heart is still here. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, when I'm sure everyone asks you, but what's your standard answer for people when people say what was she like at that time? I mean, I remember like. Her brother was Frankie. I remember her family being around.
Yeah,
she's very tight with their family.
They're a really tight knit family. Ariana, she was 13, 14 years old. And truthfully, she's grown up and she's matured and she's a woman now. But so many of the qualities that she had then, she still has. I get a little annoyed sometimes because I'll read press it all, and I know it's not true, and she is just incredibly funny, and she does the most incredible impressions you have ever seen anybody do. And she's got a huge heart, and she is an activist and a feminist and funny and sweet. All those kids, I'm very proud of them.
Speaking of feminists,
yes,
bringing Tootsie to the stage.
Yes.
And actually, I interviewed Santino Fontana last week. That interview will be coming out soon. It's a very sensitive project, sort of an unexpectedly sensitive project for me to bring back Tootsie. Tootsie was a huge movie from my childhood. And I know that you very carefully looked at these relationships and the female characters and sort of what was going on. How was that how did that evolve over? Did that evolve over the time of the creation? Because obviously the world has even changed since with the Me Too movement and Time's Up since you started working on Tootsie. How has it been sort of adapting to that and watching the show grow up with it?
That's a good question. You know, the culture was changing as we were writing it, and Me Too started to happen, and there were certain, you know, first of all, nobody does this alone. So working with Carol Feineman and Scott, our producer Scott Sanders and Carol Feineman, and with Yazbek and Scott Ellis and Andrea Grody and all our creative team and Dennis Jones, it was daily conversations. And I always say, I know I don't know what I don't know. But Scott Ellis always just insisted, have conversations. Santino too it was very important to him that we open up our ears and our minds to the experiences that we don't have, and how we can write the humanity of the show, but the specificity of the characters we really needed to educate ourselves on and be aware of the sensitivities. But it was changing as we were writing it. I think I knew going in that the movie existed in a time when the culture was very different, and it worked perfectly for that time. But I knew that those characters wouldn't translate to the culture we're living in now, especially some of the female characters, like the character of Julie, played by Lily, incredibly beautifully by Lily Cooper, and Jessica Lange in the movie, who won an Oscar, but she was a little bit of a victim. You know, she drank, and she was a single mom, and she was in a relationship where the guy was cheating on her, but she felt she didn't deserve better. And I knew two things: I didn't want to write that character, and I knew that in the movie where she finds her empowerment through a man dressed as a woman, I did not want to do that. I wanted the character of Michael Dorsey to grow and find remorse and grow as a person by having spent time with a strong woman who was confident. So I knew I needed to change that for the movie, and that sort of was where we started from.
It's very exciting to take something so, I know it was classic for you, just like it was for me. Some younger theatergoers, maybe the movie didn't mean so much to them.
1982.
But to take
Most
that
of you weren't born.
the year Santino was born.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, he loves throwing that fact around.
He throws hairbrushes, he throws eyelashes.
But it's exciting because you changed so many things about it. It was originally set in the soap opera world. Now it's set in a Broadway musical and all these characters. But then you also honor certain things in the story. It's a fun project because you were able to kind of deconstruct it and then rebuild it a little bit, right? And have some of the same moments.
Yeah, well, you know, it was really important. David and I talk about this. We didn't want the tail to wag the dog. And so we knew going in we had to honor the DNA of the movie. And it's a fantastic story. If you look at it as a short story, an actor who's told he could no longer do the one thing he loves more than anything. And what does he do to change that? And listen, as artists, as actors and writers and all that we do, we spend most of our lives being told no. And the great thing that he's kind of a jerk when we meet him, but he's also passionate and he won't take no for an answer. And I loved that, and I knew that if that was our starting place, that was a great place to start, because that's a story about humanity. That's a story, and so and then it was figuring out what's the story we want to tell, how do we want to tell it. Let's write our version and then see what we can bring back from the movie, and not the other way around. We knew if we were precious about anything, we couldn't tell our story.
I love this quote from David Yazbek about you. Robert is a modern-day Neil Simon who can make audiences laugh hysterically without sacrificing character. I'm a comedy writer myself, and that's the ultimate praise I can give. That's that, and I think that is very.
Great
also
Emmy
Neil Simon
winning.
is also someone that I grew up really loving. And David Yazbek, I mean, he's just a disaster. What was it like working with him? I'm kidding. I love him, but he's a handful. I love you, David.
He'll tell you he's two hands full. But
and I heard it. Didn't he say like this is the best time he's ever had with a collaborator? I mean, it sounds like it's a bromance going on here.
It was I was able to write that Michael and Jeff relationship based on David and I. I met David, and it really was. I never thought I would fall in love with a straight man, but I actually the day we met. it was like brothers from another mother. And he is so funny. And what I loved is that he constantly challenged me to bring my A game, because his A game is so effortless, and he knows what he does. He knows we had just about 3.5 years working on this, and in the entire production, never a fight. And this is a tribute to Scott Ellis too. The note sessions were funnier than the script, and he is just. David will start a writing session by saying, "Okay, look, I know we can't do this, but," and then of course we'll do it. And he just is. We had the best time. We had the best time. He's an Emmy-winning comedy writer, and intimidated. I was very intimidated when they first came to me with this. I'm like, that's a big target on my back. But okay, work with David Yazbek in a second.
Do you think you would do it again? Do you
This
need to go
movie?
more shows with him, with Yazbek?
Oh my, yeah, we're already planning that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
into it.
If you get the opportunity to work with David Yazbek, make it a priority.
One more thing. This is a great cast, which we've talked about. Were there any auditions when people came in? And I was very excited to find out who would get cast in these roles because the movie was so important to me. So I had all
I
sorts.
love that you love the movie.
I had all sorts of ideas. Were there any auditions where like somebody came in and you were like, I'm assuming you saw some of these, and it was sort of like changed. Everyone was like, oh wow, that's such an interesting. Like somebody who sort of like would walk in and then give you new perspective. Anything that sort of pops out, a memorable moment.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Only 2 people auditioned in the entire show.
Oh, wow.
So we would do readings, and Scott Ellis, who is incredible at casting, and Jim Carnahan, our casting director, would say, oh, I know somebody that would be good for a reading. And they would bring in Sarah Stiles for a reading, or Reg Rogers for a reading, or John Bellman for a reading. And by the time that reading is over,
They had the
David
role.
and I would say, get them. Scott, we want, get them. And so
Interesting.
only Lily Cooper and Michael McGraw were cast, and both of them got the job in the room. They were
Wow.
both so fast. The hardest part to cast was Lily Cooper's
Yes,
part, Julie.
absolutely.
The character Julie, because she's got, I think, one of the hardest roles, because even though she's funny, she's the grounding force of the piece, and you have to fall in love with her, so you understand why Michael is willing to give up everything he thought he wanted
Yeah.
for love. And she brought this humanity and this inherent sensitivity and confidence and beauty to the role that truly, when she auditioned, it wasn't on the page like it is now. Like with all these actors, we really developed it with them as we were going. So I think the biggest surprise was how much the show developed with these actors during the writing process for all of us,
Lily
and
Cooper.
for Scott Ellis too.
Lily Cooper is fantastic.
She's
I was so
fantastic.
excited
I
that
love
she
you,
got
Lily
included
Cooper.
on the Tony nominees list.
Yes,
11 Tony
yes.
nominations. It's a nice number.
It's exciting. It's a good number. Nice.
Hey,
round.
Caitlin, what are the people online saying?
Yes.
Hi, people.
There's lots
Just-
of
I know
people.
Ariana Grande's watching, but who else?
Yeah.
Who else?
Ariana, if you're watching, hey.
So Alex wants to know, is there anything special that you do to get into a creative mindset? Greetings from London.
Hello, Alex. Was that good? How was that? It's terrible. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. Somebody said to me, how do you write so many jokes? And the characters live in your head. They truly do. And I have a schedule of when I like to sit down and write. I get up very early. I get up like 5 in the morning, and I try to get at least 4 or 5 hours done by lunch. And even if I throw everything away, but you are writing all day. You're just writing all day because they talk to you, and they say suddenly it comes to you, and you're just, my house is nothing but notes and all over. Yeah, so you just have to just let yourself just hear the characters and start writing.
Amazing. LB wants to know, what is your favorite song in the show and why?
Oh, I love so many songs in the show.
Pick one.
Okay, okay, one would be probably I Know What's Gonna Happen. I know everybody says that, but it's such a song about chaos and neurosis and insecurity, and that's like all of us. And so David captured that so beautifully. That and I Won't Let You Down, because hearing Santino suddenly bring that voice, I don't know where that
The
comes
audition
from.
song,
The audition song,
yeah.
and then how it escalates, and it really becomes this power ballad, and I love that too.
When do I get
Love
the
it.
album? When is that?
Oh, it is coming out. Like June something. Like
Cool.
maybe I may be wrong, but I think early June.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So this will be our last question, and Nina wants to know, how do you overcome writer's block?
You don't. You just wait it out. You
Right.
wait it out. for me, I force myself to write something even though I know it's going to be terrible. You just, and you can't fight it. Just get distracted. I always say you can't be all output. You have to have input. So you watch TV or you read something or you listen to music and you just wait for it to pass. It always passes. You think it's not going to, but it always passes, and then suddenly you get an idea.
Was it stressful when like you had the deadline of opening night because you have to freeze the show in previews, and I'm sure that was suddenly like
it's
very clear
horrible.
time.
It's horrible. But Scott Ellis had a mantra, which is, I want to leave Chicago healthy. So we knew the out-of-town run. So we knew coming in what the work we had to do. So when you know what you have to do, and then of course it changes once you see it in front of an audience.
Yeah.
But deadlines are scary. But I like that pressure of being under a deadline because I'm like, I gotta do it. I got no choice. I've got no choice.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
you for coming
It's
by.
so thrilling to be
So nice to have you on Broadway with a hit.
Broadway with a hit. Yeah,
with a hit.
I hope.
Can't wait to see you on the Tony Awards.
Yeah, it's
Do you know
very
what you're
exciting.
wearing? A bow tie, definitely a bow tie.
I'm definitely wearing a bow tie, and I'm probably going to wear just like overalls. But I think maybe both, and a tank top, because I respect the arts. I respect theater.
Great. That's a good look.
I shouldn't right now. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single day on Facebook. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for hashtag live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Tony nominee Bob Martin all about The Prom.